you ever sit in a room that used to feel like home, and suddenly it feels like a courtroom? That's exactly where I was. The smell of funeral flowers still hanging in the air, like grief had a scent and refused to leave. My husband had been gone for 3 days. 3. And his sons? They weren't grieving. Nah, they were calculating. I was sitting in his chair, his favorite leather chair, the one he used to sink into after long days, loosening his tie, smiling at me like the world outside didn't matter. Now it felt cold, empty, like it knew something I didn't. Let's talk about the estate. That's how it started. No, how are you holding up? No, we're sorry for your loss. Just business. Cold, clean, ruthless. The older one, slick, polished, the kind of guy who talks like every word is billable, stood there like he already owned the room. The younger one, fake soft, you know the type, acts nice, but every word feels rehearsed. They laid it all out. The house, the vacation property, the business, all going to us. Just like that. And me? Oh, they had something for me. A neat little number, barely enough to survive, especially once I covered the medical bills they conveniently dropped on me like a bomb. Yeah, they didn't just take everything, they made sure I'd walk away with almost nothing. And the wildest part? They said it like it was fair, like I should be grateful, like I was some guest in my own life. I remember looking at them, really looking, and it hit me. These weren't the boys I helped raise. These were strangers, strangers who had been waiting, waiting for this moment, waiting for him to be gone. And in that moment, I had two choices, fight or fold. My lawyer, he was practically begging me, "Don't do this. Something's off. This doesn't make sense." And yeah, deep down, I knew he was right. Nothing about it felt right. But grief does something to you. It makes everything heavy. Even thinking feels like work. And I was tired. So damn tired. So I said the one thing nobody expected. Give it all to them. You should have seen their faces. Shock, then relief, then that little flicker of victory they tried to hide. Oh, they thought they won. They thought I was weak, broken, done. But here's the thing. That night, something changed. I was sitting alone in that same quiet house they were already planning to take from me, and I found something. A small key. Nothing fancy, old, worn, but it didn't belong to anything I recognized. And that's when my gut kicked in. Not fear, not sadness, something else, something sharper. Because my husband, he wasn't careless. He didn't miss details ever. So why would he leave something behind without a reason? That key, it wasn't random. It was a message, and I knew whatever it opened, it was going to change everything. The next morning, I went hunting, not for revenge, not yet, for answers, and that little piece of metal led me somewhere I never expected. A locked box, hidden in plain sight, the kind of thing you'd walk past 100 times and never notice, until you're meant to. My hands were shaking when I opened it, not from fear, from instinct, that quiet voice inside saying, "Pay attention, this matters." Inside, documents, stacks of them. Not the usual boring paperwork. No, this was different. Emails, financial records, notes, and the deeper I went, the colder I felt. Because piece by piece, the truth started to show itself. And it wasn't pretty, not even close. Turns out, while I was taking care of my husband, while I was sitting in hospitals, holding his hand, praying he'd get better, his sons, they were planning, scheming, setting everything up, not just to take from me, but to take from him. Yeah, let that sink in. Their own father. They thought he didn't know. They thought they were slick. But they underestimated one thing. He was always 10 steps ahead. Always. And what I found in that box, it wasn't just proof. It was a plan. His plan. A backup plan so detailed, so precise, it felt like he was still in the room, guiding me, protecting me, even after he was gone. And that's when I realized something that changed everything. I hadn't been abandoned. I'd been set up, not to lose, but to win. That night, I got invited to dinner. Oh yeah, they wanted to spend time together, act like a family, celebrate early, I guess. And I went. Of course I did, because now I wasn't the woman they thought I was. I sat at that table, smiling, listening, watching, while they talked about our house, our future, their plans, like I was already erased. And every now and then I'd drop a little hint, a question, a comment, just enough to make them uncomfortable. And oh man, you could feel it, that shift, that tension, like something was slipping, but couldn't figure out what. They were nervous for the first time, and I loved it. Not because I'm cruel, but because for once, I wasn't the one being played. By the time I left that house, I knew exactly what I was going to do. No more confusion, no more hesitation, just clarity. Cold, sharp clarity. They wanted everything? Cool. I was going to give it to them. Exactly what they asked for. Every last piece. Just not the way they expected. And when the day came, the final meeting, the papers on the table, everyone watching me, waiting for me to sign, they were smiling. Oh yeah, confident, relaxed, already spending money that wasn't even theirs yet. And me? I signed. No hesitation, no drama, just ink on paper. Simple, clean, final. They thought it was over. They thought they won, until their lawyer started reading the details, and suddenly that smile, gone, completely gone. The room went quiet. Not the normal kind of quiet. I'm talking about that heavy, suffocating silence, the kind where you can actually hear someone's heartbeat if you listen close enough. Their lawyer stopped mid-sentence. His face changed. Color drained, eyes widened. He looked up at them, then back at the papers, then at me. And that's when I knew. Yeah, it hit. "What is this?" Sydney snapped, his voice cracking just a little. Not confident anymore, not in control anymore, just scared. The lawyer cleared his throat, but even he sounded shaken. "These properties, they come with liabilities." "Liabilities?" Edwin repeated, like the word didn't make sense. I leaned back in my chair, calm, collected, finally in control. "Yeah," I said softly. "Big ones." The lawyer continued, flipping pages faster now. Outstanding loans secured against both properties totaling over $2 million. Silence. Pure shock. It was like watching two men realize the ground beneath them wasn't solid, it was quicksand. "You're kidding," Sydney whispered. "I wish I was," the lawyer replied. And then it got worse, way worse. Given the current market value, you're looking at a deficit of roughly $600,000. Boom. There it was. Not an inheritance, a trap. a perfectly wrapped, legally airtight trap. Edwin pushed his chair back so fast it scraped the floor. "This is fraud!" "No," I said calmly. "This is exactly what you asked for." Sydney turned to me, eyes burning now. "You knew." I tilted my head slightly. "Not at first." Pause. "But you should have seen your faces when I mentioned that key." That's when it clicked for them. Everything. The dinner, the questions, the calm. I wasn't confused. I wasn't grieving. I was watching, waiting, setting the stage. "You set us up," Edwin said, voice shaking. I let out a slow breath. "No, your father did." And man, that hit different. Because now, it wasn't just about me anymore. It was about him, the man they tried to outplay, the man they thought was weak at the end, the man who saw everything and still played them like amateurs. Their lawyers spoke again, more carefully this time. "You have two options: accept the properties and the associated debt, or decline and receive nothing." Nothing. That word landed harder than anything else, because for guys like them, nothing is worse than losing. Sydney ran a hand through his hair, pacing now, thinking, calculating, looking for a way out. But there wasn't one. Not this time. Edwin just sat there, staring at the table like it might give him answers. Finally, Sydney stopped, looked at me. "What do you want?" There it was. The question, not about law, not about money, about power. And for the first time in my life, I had all of it. "I want you to take what you fought so hard for, own it, live with it, and never come near me again. No yelling, no revenge speech, just truth. Cold, clean, final." Bianca started crying. Edwin looked like he might throw up. Sydney, he knew. Game over. They signed because they had to, because the alternative was worse, way worse. 3 months later, everything fell apart for them. Bankruptcy, lawsuits, debt collectors. The life they tried so hard to fake, gone, piece by piece. And me? I walked away. Not just from them, from everything. I bought a small place by the ocean. Nothing flashy, just peace. Real peace. The kind you don't have to pretend for. Some mornings I sit outside with coffee, watching the waves roll in, and I think about him, about how he protected me, even when I didn't know I needed it. And yeah, sometimes I wonder if he knew exactly how it would all play out. I think he did, because in the end, he didn't just leave me money, he left me freedom. And the truth is, that's worth more than anything they tried to take. So let me ask you something. If you were in my place, would you have done the same? Or would you have forgiven them? And hey, wherever you're watching from, drop your city below. I want to see how far this story reached. Because trust me, some stories, they don't just get told, they get felt.